7th and 8th grade Bobcats, Mr. Flato here. Welcome back to another great week at D. Helena Middle School. This week's B.O.B Lesson, I'm going to switch gears for the rest of the year and start talking about some career stuff. Got to be in with Miss Cope doing some career cruising the last couple weeks. Got me fired up about careers again. And this is how I plan to end the school year anyways, with some career stuff. Now, if you'll recall, last year I talked about interests and interest types, the Holland codes, and I'm going to review that here in a moment for those of you that don't remember that. And for the next couple weeks I'm going to go in and I'm going to start introducing career values, or the little things that we don't think about that are important in finding the right career. So I hope you guys like that. Got a few weeks to go in this school year. Time flies when you're having fun. Cannot believe it's already mid-May. Let's buckle down and focus and do our best to finish this school year strong. So let's get rock and rolling on this B.O.B lesson. I'm going to talk about career values, I think, for the next couple weeks. Hope you guys go out there and make it a great week at the Helena Middle School. All right, in this B.O.B lesson, we're going to start talking about values as they pertain to careers. But first, let's be our best this week at HMS. Let's be B.O.B. Let's be safe, let's be responsible, let's be respectful, and let's be a learner. All right, for some of you 7th graders who just had career cruising with myself and the wonderful Miss Cope, shout out Miss Cope, you're going to see this formula that looks familiar. To me, finding the perfect career is a combination of three things. The first is taking your interests into consideration. Now, if you'll recall on last year's B.O.B lesson, I went through all 6 of the interest types. These are also known as career clusters. If you forget, no worries. On this next slide, I'm going to do a quick review. What I'm going to introduce for the next couple weeks here is values. And interests are things obviously you're interested in. Values are things that are important to you, and you'll start to be able to distinguish between the two here, hopefully, as we start going through it. The last is capacities, and I like to explain capacities as your natural ability, whether it is going to college, going to a 2-year college, 4-year college, getting a master's degree, getting a PhD. Everybody has a certain level of academic capacities or intelligence capacities. For instance, Mr. Flato, I'm not that smart. I'm average intelligence. I'm not smart enough to be a doctor. That's above my capacities. I'm probably not smart enough to be a veterinarian or a lawyer. It just so happens that my natural skill set fits with being a school counselor. And so my goal in finding your purpose or finding the right career for you is that we find something that fits all 3 of these things. All right, some of you may recognize this hexagon. This was the Holland interest types, very similar to the career clusters that we talk about in career cruising. And I'm going to quickly go through these very quick, just as a reminder, refresher. Conventional upper left is structured situations involving data analysis, finance, planning, or organization is huge in the conventional. Conventional people are organizers. To the right is realistic, and these are hands-on physical activities, outside construction, building things, fixing things, repairing things, not so much using your brain, but more using your hands and your physical skill set, your body. Investigative, on the other hand, is all about using your brain to solve problems, a lot of science, engineering, STEM type careers, a lot of times working alone or in a laboratory. These are our scientists. These are our math people. Artistic is pretty self-explanatory. Unstructured, gray situations, creating, music, film, art, media, writing, some of those things. Social careers, which is what teachers are, counselors are being around other people and helping other people, advising other people, mentoring. They are drawn to humanistic or social causes. Enterprising is all about selling, persuading, trying to get somebody to buy something. Assertive, energetic type people are enterprising types. So quickly, that was a review on these, and we're going to move on and start talking about values. These are interest types. Now we're going to talk about values next. There are many different types of values, and when I'm saying these, I want you to just think about these. These are things that are important to you when you're thinking about your ideal career. Let's start with ability utilization. I talk in career cruising all the time. I believe all of us have a special skill, unique skill or ability that we can do better than 99% of everybody else out there. A lot of life is about finding yours. And so in ability utilization, is it important to you to find a career that makes the most of your unique and inherent skills and abilities? Okay, so that's a value right there. The next value is intrinsic achievement. Intrinsic is coming from within. It's the opposite of extrinsic. Extrinsic would be like getting paid, getting a certificate, getting anything that you can see. Intrinsic can't be seen. Intrinsic can only be felt. So intrinsic achievement, is it important to you to find a career that gives you an internal feeling of accomplishment? I get a ton of intrinsic achievement from my job. I feel good when I help kids problem solve or being around kids and helping them feel their best. That would be an example of intrinsic achievement. The next value is activity. Is it important to you to find a career that has you busy all the time so you're never bored? Believe it or not, there are some careers out there that are very boring. I think about maybe being like a security guard or being something where you're just kind of sitting there waiting for something to happen. Now that can sound like a good deal, but honestly, and I value activity. I have a ton of activity in my job. It's like you guys see me in the hallway scrambling left to right. Sometimes my hair's on fire. I like being busy and working, and holy, it is lunchtime already, or it is the end of the day already. You hear people talking about that time flies when you're busy. The opposite of that is having a slow job or a slow career where it's just you're sitting there watching the clock tick, and that can be pretty monotonous and pretty boring. The next is independence. Is it important to you to find a career where you could work autonomously? Working autonomously means working alone. Some people that are more introverted may prefer working independently. Some people that just prefer to work independently as opposed to working with other people in a group or a team situation, that may be something that they value. Is it important to find a career where you could work autonomously, work by yourself? The next value I'm going to talk about is variety. Is it important to you to find a career where no 2 days are the same? That's one thing I love about my career is every day I have no clue what is about to happen. Some days I have certain type of situations going on. Other days I have different type of situations going on. I have situations all the time that I've never seen before. And that is kind of a part of my job that I like. It's just you never know what you're going to walk into. With some jobs, it's like being on an assembly line. For those of you that know about assembly lines, putting something together, it's like you take one piece and you put it on. I like to describe it as on 8 Mile, where Eminem is working at the factory and he takes a piece of steel, puts it on, and it's like up, down, and he hits the thing, and it's the same thing over and over. That can get pretty monotonous at times. So the first 5 we talked about: ability, utilization, intrinsic achievement, activity, independence, variety. Are any of those super important to you in finding a perfect career? And if so, which ones? All right, we'll be back the next couple of weeks with more values. We're only about a quarter of the way through. Lots of interesting things that are of importance to think about when you're figuring out what you want for a career. This week's quote of the week is: the best way to predict the future is to create it. And before you can create something, we got to think about what is it that we want to create. 62,400 hours, give or take, is a lot of hours to be doing something. My goal, Ms. Panis' goal as school counselors, is to get you guys thinking about what exactly it is you want to do and how you want to spend those 62,400 hours. So the best way to predict the future is to create it, and to create it, you got to have a game plan. And that brings us to this week's Jellybean Question of the Week winners, who are Anthony McLean, Nina Kerr, Taylor Brown, Cole Richmond, and Faith Cox. Congratulations. Come see me for some jelly beans on your own time. This week's Jellybean Question of the Week is: Mary's father has 5 daughters. Nana, Nene, Nini, Nono. What is the 5th daughter's name? If you know, submit your answer into the Bob box no later than Friday. All right, 7th and 8th graders, let's go out and make it a great week at the Helena Middle School.